Welcome back to the Hey Beauty Podcast. I'm Seraphine with.
I'm Chelsey Atia.
How are you guys? It's been a moment.
It has.
Thanks for being patient. For those of you who've been like, where did the Hey Beauty girls go?
We didn't go anywhere.
We didn't go anywhere. Well, actually, we did. Chelsey just got back from Dubai.
Yes.
How was that?
So cool. I mean, it's like, it's way different than I ever expected. Sorry, I'm just making sure that this is, why is this? Okay. It was way different than I expected. It was like, it's very Americanized, I feel like, because everything is in English, basically. I mean, they have Arabic around too, but a lot of stuff is in English. And then, like, no one really, I mean, everyone's walking around in, like, hijabs and stuff, but then also people that are wearing, like, very American stuff. So it's cool. It's a good place to, like, dip your toe into the Middle East, but we had a lot of fun. Like, everything Dubai is over the top. So
it feels over the top. And when I looked at the photography, I mean, it's not like I haven't seen movies or even a Fast and Furious was there.
Exactly, yeah.
But it has this, like, very elaborate feeling, and it's so interesting because it still is like a deeply Muslim culture. I mean,
it is,
there's a call to prayer there, right?
Yes.
So I mean that there's, like, when you think about that in all of that glamour, you know, a lot of, I don't want to say ignorant people, but I think, you know, we have the stereotype of, like, Muslim cultures being more poor. I mean, and being someone from, you know, Iran, which is, like, you know, misglamorous. A lot of people now, I look at Iran and I'm like, the country looks nothing like it was when it was for, like, back in the 70s when my dad grew up.
Yeah. I mean, I know that there are, I mean, just like in other cultures too, there are Muslim countries that maybe aren't as wealthy, but I mean, this is like, this in Saudi Arabia, like the oil money and, like, the Emiratis, I mean, it's also, like, really, it's impossible for anyone that's not an Emirati to, like, get into that business. You have to be, like, and my husband was explaining it to me, and I know that it's more complicated than this, but basically, like, they don't work. They just hire people. I mean, 90% of the people there are from India.
Interesting.
India
I did
and
not
Pakistan. Know. Yeah.
I had no
and
idea.
They work around the clock. I'm telling you, the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, was built in 6 years.
That's insane to me.
I could not believe that. Like, we went up into it and I'm like, it's like 6 years. Sometimes it takes people 2 or 3 to build a house.
That's insane. And then you guys stayed there for what, 7 days?
Well, really 5. I mean, because full 26 hours it took to get home, and then, like, about 24 hours, no, maybe a little more, 24, 26 hours to get there. So about 5 days, and you need a full 7 days to do everything. We didn't do some of the things we really wanted to. I mean, the future of Dubai is like, it's like space. It's crazy. I mean, they have the Museum of the Future there that literally opened, like, the day we got there, and we didn't have tickets, so we were unfortunately not able to see it. But there they have, like, I mean, there's robots going around now.
Wow.
And it's just starting.
That's incredible.
I mean, Dubai's only 50 years old.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So I guess when you was there anything that you thought, like, had a preconceived notion in terms of Dubai as a place that when you got there, you were like, I was so wrong?
I don't know. Not really. I knew that Dubai was, like, all man-made, and I expected it to feel a little colder than it did. Like, I didn't, because I'd heard from people that had went there in the past, they were like, I didn't really like Dubai. It felt very cold and, like, weird because it was, like, all man-made. I didn't feel that at all. Yeah. I felt like maybe there wouldn't be as much English spoken, but, like, at the Burj Khalifa, when they were giving, and granted, this is, like, a big tourist attraction, but their instructions and explanations were all done in English.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you want to see any Emiratis and, like, the rich ones, you go to the Dubai Mall on a Friday night, and they're all sitting there in their, like, long robes and their red scarves with, like, the black thing.
Yeah.
And then all their Emiratis' wives are there too with them.
As soon as I spoke to Chelsey, she was like, you have to go to Dubai just for the shopping. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, yes.
I immediately like walked through the Dubai Mall. Me and my husband were like, told him, I said, oh my God, Seraphine would just have, this is like Seraphine's playground.
I love it. I love it. Now, the only other thing I have to ask is if you are going to give any kind of travel tips to someone who was going to travel to a place like Dubai, what would you say?
I would say don't be scared to go, for one. Like I know it's intimidating to go to the Middle East. There's a lot of preconceived notions. It's totally safe. Honestly, I felt safer there than I did in the United States. It's so cool. I would say go all out. I would say do all the things because, you know, next time you go there, there's going to be more things to do. It's like a rapidly changing city, or I guess it's technically like a state. I would say personally, I would like to, I pack things that are chic, but not revealing. And people do wear revealing stuff. It's not like you're going to be looked at like, who is this? But I just felt better.
Well, and I also feel like if you want to experience the entirety of the country, it's just like anything. I mean, if I'm in a like a see-through like Skims top without a bra, you know, it's probably not going to be where I go and like, you know, go to church in that.
Exactly.
So,
no,
you know,
totally.
So,
and if you do go to Dubai, I 100% suggest taking the 1 hour drive to Abu Dhabi. It's a different state, and going to the Grand Mosque, whether you're a Muslim or not, you have to go. But you have to cover your hair. You have to cover your hair, and you have to cover your arms and your legs. They will check you. They will tell you that you need to put something on. They have stuff you can buy there anyways, but that was like one of the coolest things that we did was go to the mosque, and then another one was do the safari.
Oh, I mean, just beautiful pictures. There's a one of your husband with a hawk.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
I mean, he just looks like...
And the hawk is staring directly forward,
oh, my God, it was insane. He looked like out of Lawrence of Arabia or something. It was so amazing.
He was definitely in his element.
Well, the other thing we can kind of segue to, and we can kind of do it through the cuisine. What was the food like there? Because today we are going to be talking about food. We're going to be talking about alcohol. We are going to be talking about diet and wellness, basically what we've been adapting into our lives. But, you know, the one thing I was really curious about when you were traveling was I wanted to know if there was the food experience there. Did you feel like there was, obviously there's more Middle Eastern kind of inspired food, but like there's options.
All kinds. You know, I probably don't have the best perspective on this because my husband was so excited to eat authentic Egyptian food. So we kind of like dedicated a lot of our meals to finding like Egyptian meals. There was different dishes that he was really excited for me to try. Hawalshi, molahera, which is like a spinach. Everything was amazing. I'm telling you, I didn't have one thing that I was like, ugh. It was so good. The mango juice, like, have you ever tried mango juice?
I love mango juice.
Oh my
God.
The best. It was amazing, and I like it. I like the kind that's not fully blended. It has like little chunks of mango in it. So good. But there were other restaurants that we could have gone to, actually had reservations to go to, but we kind of ditched those to go to the more authentic places. But there are some incredible restaurants there that have amazing views. If you get a chance to go to the Burj Al Arab, which is the only 7-star resort in the world, it's technically 5 stars, but they call it the only 7-star hotel in the world. And you can only go there if you're staying at the hotel or if you have a reservation at one of the restaurants over there. So definitely go there. One that we really wanted to go to is called Somersault, and I guess like it's the most amazing vibe to go there at sunset and smoke some shisha, which is hookah, and it's right on the water, man-made like lake or sea or whatever. It's man-made, but still incredible. But there's so many cool restaurants, like amazing views. You can a cool place that we like happened upon was, after we went to the Burj Khalifa, the Dubai Mall is attached to it, and we met one of Hassan's friends from elementary school in Egypt there.
No way. That's crazy.
He lives in Dubai, and he works at the Mercedes there, but he met us, and he took us to this really cool a cafe coffee shop on like the 5th floor of the Dubai Mall. Overlooks like, you know, in Vegas, they have those fountains at the Bellagio. They have the same thing in Dubai, but it's like extra large, like it's even bigger, and so you get to watch the water, and it was at night. Like, it's just amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, maybe on the Instagram, if you feel comfortable sharing some of your pictures, and maybe just a few like, hey, like, check this out. If for those of you who are world travelers and looking for some place in Dubai.
I would say, like, you asked me at the beginning what's something I would say to someone. Like, Dubai feels like, and it is another world. I feel like can kind of seem like out of reach for some people.
Yeah.
It's not. You can find some really good deals on flights, and the hotels there are not as expensive as you would think. I mean, we stayed in a nice area. It's called the Dubai Marina, which we wouldn't next time because it was kind of far from the things we wanted to do, but it reminded me of Chicago over there. Yeah. It had like that river going through. It was beautiful, but our hotel was like $73 a night.
That's amazing.
And it was nice.
It was, and again, I mean, you can see from the photography, I mean, everything in your vacation, it read very like glamorous and very sophisticated. And I think what a lot of people may get in their own way is because it has such a luxurious feeling. Yes. You may feel like it is out of your financial reach.
And it can be.
Yes.
You can totally do it in a way that's like other people would never experience. But if you want to just go there and experience Dubai in a different way, you can do it. That's like kind of my niche, is even with clothing. I don't like to spend a lot of money, and I like to find things that look more expensive than they are. So the same thing goes with our trips. Like I'm not gonna stay anywhere bad, but I'm gonna find the best deal.
Yeah.
And
you did a great job, because I literally was like, girl, where are you at? And she's like, let me just tell you how much I spent on this hotel room. And guess what? This restaurant was.
Yeah.
And to me, it's so nice for, I don't know, even if you do have the extra change to spend, a lot of times you don't get the experience and the authenticity, because if it's on this upper brow level, there's always this level of like, you know, like, what fork do I eat with? That kind of thing of culturally, like what is expected of me.
Yeah.
My last question, even though you don't drink alcohol, what was the alcohol situation there?
I mean, they serve alcohol everywhere. I think.
Yeah.
But
in most places you went to,
I know the really nice restaurants there. I know, and they have clubs and stuff. I mean, people drink there. It's not like taboo or anything, but Muslims in their religion, they don't drink. So that's why a lot of them hang out at coffee shops.
Yeah. Which I love. I love that. I think it's such, I mean, my husband loves a good hookah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so chill and so fun to just like, I mean, when we went on the safari, we were in the middle of the desert, and they like set up this hookah station. But one place we went that you would have absolutely loved is called Aura Sky Pool. It's brand new. I think it just opened at the end of last year, and it's the tallest 360-degree infinity pool in the world.
Oh my God,
and
that sounds gorgeous.
It literally goes from like the city view all the way to the palm view. Like, it's on the palm, you know, the palm that you see. It's on like the base of the palm. So on one side, for sunset, you would want to sit on the palm side, because that's where you'd see that. But then during the day, to get the sun, you'd want to sit on the city view side, because otherwise you'll be in the back and it gets a little chilly up there.
It sounds like it was an incredible vacation.
Have to go.
I definitely want to go.
You would thrive in Dubai. My God. If anyone would, it'd be you.
I'd bring out my inner Scheherazade for sure. It'd be
yes.
amazing. Well, I guess we can segue into what we've been kind of excited about going into this year. Chelsey and I aren't really the people who are like, what is your New Year's resolution? I think when we're committed to change, we're both like thinkers. I think we are definitely people who we read a lot. We're really good about like sending each other things that are like, well, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Before we like commit, I think that both of us are in that place of, in both of our lives, are like, all right, well, I'm going to do this because it's going to be a lifestyle change, or I'm committed to it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start out, I guess, on my end with talking to you a little bit about my choice to go more plant-based diet. Now, please know I still eat meat. I didn't cut it out completely. The month of January, I really focused on my Monday through Friday, pretty much being plant-based.
Yeah.
My weekends, that's where I started to cut loose a little bit. Now I'm kind of back to, all right, more fish, chicken during the week. And then during the weekend is when I kind of will throw caution to the wind.
Yeah. But I think that's a really good way to like try out a more plant-based diet. I feel like, and I saw something the other day, not to interrupt you. I want you to continue.
No, not at all.
But I feel like when people say they're plant-based or when people say they want to be vegan or vegetarian, people are, if they feel like maybe they want to have a piece of chicken or something, people will be like, but you said like just calm down. It's just
so
like,
true. And the thing is your body literally will have a moment where like to simply like go what I say cold turkey.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
It really doesn't make any sense. And frankly, my sister, who was a vegan for years, had actually a pretty tough time there. Like her nutrition versus like her vitamin deficiency, what you can get out of meat.
Yeah,
she
like
needed
iron.
it. Yeah, she completely needed to go back to bringing in some kind of meat. And she's more fish and chicken.
Yeah.
But there was a scary time for her.
Yeah. Which sister was this?
This was Shauna.
Oh,
so
okay.
Shauna's the one who lives out in Portland. If you ever meet her, she is a rock star and a half.
She looks like Joan
Jett, totally
yeah.
covered in like tattoos, and she's a hairstylist as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
So that's her little side gig aside from being a badass punk guitarist. So anyway, I was a little bit apprehensive going into it because I'd done meal services before. So the ones I've done, there is a company called Evolve Nutrition, which our friend Giovanna had repped for a while. And actually she's really turned a new page, and she has her own meal service, which is amazing.
And the food looks so
it looks
good.
so amazing.
Like those like s'mores pancakes or peanut butter pancakes or whatever she posts. I'm like,
it's amazing.
I want those.
Seriously. And she's really, I mean, we're going to have her on at some point to talk about that.
Yeah.
She started out with Evolve, and then it kind of helped her understand like what she needed out of a meal service.
Yeah.
Hers, if you are curious about what it is, it's actually called Fueled by GC, and you can check it out on Instagram. For me, Evolve was definitely had some good meals, but like any meal service, you start to want a little bit more variety.
Exactly. It can be a little redundant.
Yeah. And I think the one that does a really good job in terms of offering not only just your regular, like if you just don't care and you're like, I want menus from all over the place, but you also might want to try vegan for a week, is Hellofresh. Hellofresh does a really great job. They're a little bit more what I call work intensive. They send you all of the ingredients you like, but you have to make it yourself. And again, I did it during COVID for about 6 months. And the only thing about HelloFresh is that if you are not dedicated to cooking and doing dishes and all of that, unfortunately, it will go bad because it is fresh food. So I really started to understand, like, I'm pretty much like, I'll cook maybe once or twice a week.
Yeah.
I really don't do big meals. My husband is always out at dinners. His diet is definitely not mine. I mean, he like burns through food like you wouldn't believe. And he's kind of like the on the go guy.
Yeah.
So when he does come home, he can kill a pizza and at 8 o'clock at night and be fine.
Yeah.
And it's not that he doesn't.
That would be the life.
I know, wouldn't it? I mean,
so annoying.
It is so annoying. But in the next breath, like, he appreciates healthy food, but he also is like, you know, I mean, when you're eating at some of the best restaurants, it's really hard for me to compete with it. I'm like, okay, here's your chicken and broccoli. And on my end, you know, my body has changed so much over the years. You know, when I was younger, I was really tough on my body. I've always been in health and fitness.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think as women, we all kind of go through diets, and sometimes we do it in unhealthy ways. There was definitely a while in my life where I treated my body pretty badly. And, you know, from starving myself to to other stuff that, hopefully we'll have a podcast that I can talk to you guys. Sorry, my dog is biting my hand right now. But I'd love to talk more about it. But really today's focus is on, this moment in my life to where I'm like, well, I really can't eat past 5:30 or 6 without waking up the next day and having like 3 pounds on my body.
5:30 or 6?
Yeah. Because it's all of a sudden, like my digestive system is just different. In the morning, I'm a little bit more bloated. I'm very big on, I know this is way too much information, but I like to be as regular as possible.
Me too.
I
think everyone does.
I mean, seriously, no one wants to be constipated for days at a time. And then on top of it, I have classes that I teach in the morning. Yeah. And the worst feeling in the world is going into a workout class with a stomach ache or having to pee.
Or being bloated and
Totally.
going to work out. That's
Nobody
the
wants
worst.
that.
You want to feel like you're ready to...
to kill the game or not.
Exactly. No, that's interesting that you say that about feeling bloated. I have recently been feeling like I want to take a food sensitivity test because I feel like if I eat just one thing, it makes me, my stomach will bloat so far out and it's beyond uncomfortable, and I don't think it's normal. So I wonder if, have you ever thought you might have a food sensitivity?
100%. And honestly, when I went into the next phase of this meal service, I actually went into Daily Harvest, which is completely plant-based. The reason why I went into it, I'll be honest with you, is I was inundated on Instagram with, this is a plug for Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton literally was like coming up on my feed. And I'm like, I like Paris Hilton, but oh my God, she's like, all I see is Daily Harvest ads. Yeah. So anyway.
She's probably getting paid a lot.
Oh, seriously. So anyway, I was curious, and you don't know how many times I almost did it. Did. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull the plug, just go
Bite
for
the bullet.
it. Bite the bullet. That's it. So when I first started, you would think like if you're eating fruits and vegetables and pure grains and all of the, what I call like superfoods, you would think you would feel what? Like 100% like amazing. You'd be losing weight right away. If anything, the opposite happened for me. I became super bloated.
Probably because all the fiber.
Totally. And then it was a sense of almost a detox in my body to where my body was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
So I would say it was about 3 weeks of me being like, okay, I don't know how I feel about this. And like the other thing that was strange was, the way your body digests fibers, it takes longer.
It does, yeah.
So you're
like 48 hours.
Yeah. So you really have.
Well, maybe I'm wrong about that, but
it's in that time in that time period, but it sits in your gut for a little bit.
Ferment.
All of it. So it was interesting to see how it first started out where I felt bloated. Yeah. I felt strange in my body. I felt gassy, which was terrible. Because again, I'm teaching yoga. No one wants to be in downward dog, being like, I don't want, it's like, oh my God.
It's uncomfortable.
It is.
Like, it's an uncomfortable feeling.
And then all of a sudden it was like the script flipped.
Really? And so you just got to power through.
And you just kind of it is like a detox in your body. And I also think that the first month since I cut meat out of my diet, pretty much like I'd say 70%, my body was definitely doing a what the heck is going on type of thing. So I don't know if I would suggest that unless you are somebody who feels like, you just want a major change. Just know that, your body's going to feel different with whatever you do that's drastic.
Totally.
So I guess I'm going to start out with kind of giving you just some reasons why I kind of went into this idea of like, all right, let me check this out. So it really has been like for years that people have touted vegetarian diets as like the way to go, you know, and it's not like it's a new concept, but I think in the last decade, really since the 70s, but really this last 10 years, there's been a lot of environmental kind of fact-based support of why a plant-based diet is actually better for the environment.
Absolutely.
It's better for your body.
Yeah.
So there's this dietitian in Brooklyn, and she's an author of this book called The Southern Comfort Food Diabetes Cookbook, which I was loving it. She said that this is pretty much like plant-based diets are now so popular because it actually reduces humans' environmental impact. Mm-hmm. And many celebrities, I mean, are including Beyonce and Tom Brady. I mean, Kim Kardashian. Yeah.
Courtney.
Courtney, I mean, have embraced this way of eating. Whether you're an animal lover, an environmental advocate, or you want to live your healthiest life, it's basically being plant-based is the one underlying thread that seems to be compelling to so many of us. And that was a quote from her, and it makes sense. But there's really no need when you're eating a plant-based diet to count calories or really stress about meeting certain macronutrients. Yeah, so we're really talking about going into a pure plant-based diet. Yeah. And again, when I say that, I'll kind of go into what that means, because I think a lot of people think like if you're like a vegetarian diet, you can put a lot of stuff in your body because you're not eating simply animals. I mean, and even that can be complicated. But anyway, basically, in essence, it's simply about eating more plant-based foods and fewer animal-based ones while, you start this jump. Mm-hmm. For current meat eaters, I will say, I mean, this is coming directly from her, dismissing animal foods across the board can make your mealtime, like you will stress out, I promise you, because you'll be like, what am I doing? Like what will taste good in this? Yeah. And it'll make it challenging to source the micronutrients that are hard to come by in plant-based foods, such as like what you said, iron. And B12. Mm-hmm. So again, I'm not saying, go cold turkey, but these are the reasons why I kind of went into this. First of all, my dad was diagnosed with ALS 2 years ago, and he completely changed his diet. Like, it is amazing what he used to eat. He used to be like the go to Jack Stack barbecue. Yeah. He loved the big pizzas from the Bronx here. Like, and obviously with ALS, like that just doesn't work anymore. So we really did a deep dive into superfoods and macronutrients and things like turmeric, which are anti-inflammatories. Yeah. And I started to learn about it, but then I started to realize in my own aging body at 44 of like what made me feel good. Yeah. The first one is high blood pressure or hypertension. These are increasing the risk for health issues, including heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. And a plant-based diet is lowering your blood pressure, basically. Totally. And then, sticking with a plant-based diet can obviously reduce your blood pressure. And there were 39 studies, and this is from JAMA, which is the internal medicine mecca research journal. It concluded that people who followed a vegetarian diet had lower blood pressure on an average than those who followed an omnivorous diets, meaning those including plants and meat. So, at the end of the day, you find that the vegetarians had a 34% lower risk of developing something like hypertension, which again, it's like these things may not be something that you're worried about maybe in your teens or your 20s, but it becomes very real in your 30s when you start to feel like you're, not feeling good. You get lethargic, you get tired. So plant-based diets can keep your heart healthy, which meat contains, saturated fat. We know this, which can contribute to heart issues. And especially when it's eaten in excess. We know, my husband is guilty of getting the meat eater's pizza with the jalapenos, which is like pure like heartburn and just, but it tastes so good. Yes. But so by cutting back on your meat and loading up on plant-based foods, you're basically doing your heart a major favor. Mm-hmm. So I also love that, when you go into this, diabetes is probably one of the most common diseases, health-related, and there really is a link between your diet and type 2 diabetes. Absolutely. So a plant-based diet really helps prevent this. Yeah. So, and weight is a major risk factor since there's more fatty tissue, and that makes the cells more resistant to insulin. So according to the Mayo Clinic, this was interesting, to avoid type 2 diabetes, studies suggested that a plant-based diet has the benefits that will basically show you in your own body, like the transition from, sorry, I lost my place. It was a study published, in June 2016, found that eating a plant-based diet filled with high-quality plant foods reduced the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. I can't even say the word, by 34%.
Wow.
So that's a lot.
That's really interesting.
And bottom line is plants are lower in saturated fats than animal foods, which raise your cholesterol levels. The list of these reasons why I was looking into it is eating a plant-based diet could actually, guess what, help you lose weight.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, like, it makes sense. So your risk of obesity decreases when you swap a heavy meat-eating diet for a plant-based one. In short, plant eaters tend to weigh less, even if that's not always the number one goal. The idea is to nourish the body and cells to improve health outcomes, but weight loss may be a byproduct of replacing and reducing certain foods. The mean, which is like the BMI, diet nutrition BMI for vegans, was 23.6, while for non-vegetarians it was 28.8, which qualifies as overweight, according to the National Heart and Lung and Blood Institute. It blew my mind that when I started the diet, the water weight and the bloat, I was like, okay, I actually feel like some days I felt like I was a little more.
Yeah.
And again, about that third week and my body fully detoxed, I am now 5 pounds less
Really?
than I was at the beginning of the year. And I've maintained it, which is,
Wow.
it's kind of crazy when you think about that 5 pounds that we're always fighting with.
Yeah.
So it worked for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, when I tell you about what I eat on a day basis, you'll be surprised because you actually can eat a lot of food. The last couple ones, I'll kind of speed through these because I could talk about this forever.
Yeah,
but
it's interesting though.
Following a plant-based diet long-term is proven to help you live longer, period. All of the other potential benefits listed here roll into one major fact. You're living longer. The Journal of American Heart Association study found that a plant-based diet lowers the risk of all causes of mortality by 25%.
Wow.
I mean, when I'm like 25%,
That's huge.
that's huge. I mean, when you think about life in general, let's round me up to 45, right? Life expectancy is like in our 65, 75. Like, I want those extra years.
Yeah.
So
Is it really 65?
well,
That's really young.
it's pretty bad. Like, I think actually it depends on demographic where you're at,
Right.
but generally it's like 65 to 75. I was like, that's so
Wow.
depressing.
My dad just turned 60 and that actually makes me scared.
It does,
But,
especially if they fit into what you call the problem groups.
Yeah.
But a plant-based diet may decrease your risk of cancer. Following a plant-based diet has many health benefits. Obviously, preventing cancer is one of them, and it suggests that if the best way to source cancer protective nutrients, including fiber, vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals, is to eat a diet rich in fruits and vegetables.
Phytochemicals.
Yeah. And then plant-based diets may improve your cholesterol. Well, duh. I mean, obviously, if if you're wanting to put it in check, basically a diet filled with animal products towards one that is like a preliminary plant-based diet, if you're going to like compare them, they can have a lower LDL, which is bad cholesterol, by between 10 and 15%, while those following a strict vegan diet can lower their LDL cholesterol by as much as 25%.
Wow.
And again, this is all coming from published studies. This one is by the American Journal of Cardiology. So I'm not getting these facts from your Cosmopolitan.
Or Instagram.
Yeah, right. And the last one is eating a plant-based diet may minimize your risk of stroke. Obviously, if you have high blood pressure, you're overweight, you have diabetes or heart disease, you'll have high cholesterol. And especially if you add smoke, drinking, and if you use drugs, most of these risk factors can be wiped out by following a plant-based diet, making healthy lifestyle choices. And, it's preventable. I mean, I feel like
that's what I was going to say. It's preventative.
Yes.
Like if you're like in your 20s or 30s and you're like, why am I worried about like stroke and all that? I'm young.
Yeah.
Well, you can also have the stroke at a young age, but also it's preventative for your future. And I want to know exactly what you're eating and what these look like.
So, all right, this is crazy. So
That was a weird segue, but
yeah, but it's pretty cool. So Daily Harvest has harvest bowls. They also have these, which are literally with me all the time. They're their bites, and I'm kind of showing them to the camera. Basically, they tell you exactly what's in there. So this one has raspberry, almond, coconut, cranberry seed. It's haskap berry and vanilla bean.
Yum.
And what they look like, so I'll open this one's fresh. So they look exactly like this.
Okay.
They're little balls. And you can try one if you want. Do you want to try one? Yeah, they're really, really good. And I have a little napkin over here. So good, right? Mm-hmm. I love these as I chew into the microphone.
They look like they're kind of mushy.
But
you can, like, I love coconut, and you can taste the coconut.
These ones are the mushiest. The other ones are pretty firm because they have a little bit more of a date base. And then they have some peanut butter. These do not have any peanut butter in them.
So they're healthier.
Mm-hmm. And
what is in it again? Raspberry, almond, coconut.
Cranberry seed, haskap berry, and vanilla bean.
That's really delicious.
All of their bites are 100 calories, and they're super filling.
Each bite is 100 calories? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that whole thing is like 700 calories or something?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 7.
So you just eat like one of those?
One of those in between your meals. Their harvest bowls they're pretty amazing, but if you are someone who, like, I don't like onions.
Oh, I love onions.
I'll only do onions if they're really, really finely chopped, or they're like cooked, or like barely they're just there to flavor it.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of Daily Harvest is they have so many different options, and the flavoring in it is amazing. They have turmeric. They have spices that you'd never pick up in the store because you're a little bit like, oh my gosh, like, what do you?
I don't know how to
use
use this. Yeah, that's how I would be.
And the bowls are great because if you choose to put a little bit of protein in them, they taste amazing. So they have a lot of sweet potato dishes. They do a lot with beans, where I honestly have never been a bean person.
I love beans. But
now, I mean, the way that they combine them, they have really good texture. You would think they'd be mushy.
Yeah.
When you think of like literally microwaving vegetables, it actually turns me off.
Yeah, same. It's not like crunchy or, yeah.
The great thing about these bowls too is that they actually taste best, and they don't take that much more time on your oven, or not oven, on your
micro
oven.
Oh, stove?
On the stovetop.
Yeah.
Can you tell I'm such a cook? But like half the time I will actually put them in a frying pan, and you add just a little bit of like a bone broth or a chicken broth. And then you've got a little thing going on, and you can give it a little bit of crisp on it. The other thing that I love is they have their flatbreads, and their flatbreads you would think are like, again, like soaked dough, cauliflower. No, they're crispy. They have this really beautiful kale that's so pretty. It's like purple with sweet potatoes on it. They have, let's see, the one that I didn't know I would like was their pear and arugula. Oh my God.
And it's like your fave?
It's so good. And with like a glass of, I'm really into, I know, again, Chelsey doesn't drink, but I have changed my drinking habits considerably. I'm into organic wines.
Yeah.
I will have that little pear and arugula, flatbread, and I will have a glass of like white wine from either like an Aveline, which is like Cameron Diaz's organic wines, or I'm trying to think, what was the other one? I'll think of it.
The
Kristen Cavallari one. It's a great wine service because they actually give you a variety.
Yeah.
And I love it because you get.
That sounds chic.
It's very cool.
You glass of wine and some.
Seriously, a little, with your pear and arugula.
Yeah.
And again, the calories on this are anywhere from 280 to maybe the highest I've seen is like 480.
Really?
And again, your nutrients are like, again, you're getting superfoods.
I want to do this.
It's so good.
Okay, can you spill the beans on like the price point of this?
So the price point is so easy. You can choose your plan, which is either 6 to 8 items a week at 10 to 12, or you can do a monthly service for about $24. The range is the cheapest you'll get is $60 for a week. If
$60 for a week?
For a week.
That's not bad.
And again, you get to pick and choose, and that's for 6 to 8 items.
Really?
Yeah, it's really reasonable.
That's really.
And then if you're like me, which I am like, gosh, I want to try a little bit of everything. I do the 12 each because I'm like, I like these bites. Mm-hmm. I love their smoothies. Oh my God, the smoothies.
Yeah, you've drank your smoothies before. I've seen
Oh my
them.
God, I'm obsessed. So the ones that I have to say, like when I say like I drink them, like they are going out of style. Let me see if I can find.
But then you try to like savor it because you're like,
Oh my God, I love them. They have this one that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like a mint cocoa shake. I thought I'd be like so filled. Mm-hmm. It's banana, spinach, cacao, cashew. I think it's called chlorella. Peppermint. And they tell you exactly like this shake protects the body from heavy metals and environmental toxins.
Really?
It feels so
cool.
clean and yummy.
I love it.
Then they have one called the ginger greens. It's banana, spinach, avocado, ginger, lemon, flaxseed. And basically it's the one that like debloats you and like it's very mineral dense. So if you have had a weekend where, you're coming up on Monday morning and you're like, well, I did have a little bit of that like meat lovers pizza with my husband.
Yeah.
You have this and then you have that happy little bowel movement and you're like, yay.
Oh, so it speeds.
It does. The flaxseed definitely helps you push things through and it tastes good. So
I love that.
Yeah, it is so amazing.
And
now,
those were delicious. So
they're so
like
good.
Want to try the whole thing because of that.
It's amazing. And I have to tell you, when you look up just the information on these different companies, because there's so many of them out there. What I loved about Daily Harvest was they came from an environmental aspect.
Yeah.
So they really focus on regenerative agriculture, and it's basically considered to be like biodynamic. It goes from beyond organic or sustainable farming, which only sustains like the current way of producing food. But it doesn't really reverse the damages that we've already made. What's really different about regenerative farming is in the way it transforms the health and the vitality of the soil and the ecosystems and the crops.
If only we could get everyone on this.
I know. I mean, it's like it's when you think about the fact that the how you eat can actually improve the environment. Yeah. To me, that excites me.
It excites me, but also I don't want to be negative about this, but there's just no way that people are going to give up meat. Like a lot of people are very stuck in their ways about meat and stuff. So,
and I have to tell you, that it's crazy. Like I didn't know. It sounds so ignorant. I knew, like, we know livestock farming can be like disastrous for biodiversity on so many levels. Yeah. But like, here are some of the reasons why. First of all, manure. Yeah. From the animal agriculture, it runs off into our waterways, like poop water, causing
disgusting
algae to grow and depleting the water of the oxygen, creating the dead zones.
Right.
Then we've got greenhouse gas emissions from the belching and farting of cattle.
No way.
Yes,
I never even thought about that.
It is literally greenhouse gas emissions, and the manure and the use of the fertilizer to grow the crops to feed the livestock. Like it's poison going into the air.
Totally.
So then researchers have found that the livestock farming is the largest agricultural contributor to air pollution. Plant-based diets, 100%. It helps reduce CO2 emissions since you no longer have animals that produce methane out of their butts and their gassy bellies.
Which is, if you think about that, that's actually like, if you think about eating meat, at least to me, it's actually disgusting to like think. I don't actually love the fact that I eat meat. I would think that I would be happier without meat, but then I feel like I would miss certain, I don't know. It's like I'm in this kind of limbo right now.
It's tough. And especially when, if you are going to eat meat, I do suggest that you figure out where your meat comes from.
Right.
My sister, actually, oddly enough, her bachelorette party, they learned how to butcher a pig. All right. Oh. I was like, I think, and I
wouldn't be able to do that.
I was not in attendance for that. But I will say my sister and my cousin both really adhere from this kind of philosophy of if you can't like kill it and look it in the eye you can't prepare it, like
you shouldn't be eating
you
it.
really shouldn't be eating it. Now, does she go out and kill livestock every day? No.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you are someone who loves meat, that, you know what? Go to one of these farms where you can do it.
You might change your mind.
You might change your mind, and you might consider like maybe not eating every day a hamburger, or maybe get a what do you call it? A plant-based burger.
Yeah, or a veggie burger.
Yeah, to me, it's like these are the things that kind of put things in perspective.
I love veggie burgers.
The other thing is like a lot of these places, the way they decide to make the meat.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to
talking
believe,
about inhumane.
Yeah,
or
there's a lot of
cruel.
there's a lot of cruel practices.
100%.
And to me, I'm like, I want to believe that, you know, the cow I'm eating had a really great life, and like it was, you know, slaughtered in the best way possible. But even then, you know, the way you can look up a lot of documentaries, and let me tell you,
there's so many.
They will forever change you.
Yeah. No, that's a good reminder, because I tried being a vegan, and I've tried being a vegetarian, and I was younger, and I don't think that I had the right tools. And in my head, just the way my brain works, if I'm restricting myself from something, like I want it more, and I think about it more. So I think in the past, and I think a lot of people feel like this whenever they decide they want to go vegan or vegetarian or plant-based, and they start, and then they feel like deprived. It's hard to stick with it. You feel like it's a diet, which in all actuality, it's a whole lifestyle change. It has to be something like you want to change your lifestyle. And I think as I get older, like I'm more open to this. And I want to talk about that a little bit with like blood types and diets with blood types and stuff.
Definitely. We've got to do a deep dive into that. I actually think it would be interesting if you and I just went for it and found out about our food allergies and actually figured out with our blood type, like what would be.
What is your blood type?
I actually asked my mom this week and she didn't know.
I don't know mine either.
And I thought it would be on my birth certificate, but oddly enough, it's not. So I'm going to have to figure that shit out quickly.
I have my like medical records, and I tried to look that up, and I cannot remember what I am. But can I tell you a little, because I did some research on like the blood type diet. All right. So basically, this was popularized by a neuropathic physician called Dr. Peter D'Adamo. I'm sure he's Italian.
D'Adamo. He's probably me like
D'Adamo. That's it. In the year 1996, his book Eat Right for Your Type was incredibly successful. And he claims that each blood type represents genetic traits of our ancestors, including which diet that they evolved and thrived on, which I find fascinating. I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but whatever it is, basically, in conclusion of these, they said if you eat any of these diets, you're probably going to be in better health than if you weren't. But type A blood is called the agrarian or cultivator. People who are type A should eat a diet rich in plants and are completely free of toxic red meat. This closely resembles a vegetarian diet. Okay. I feel like I'm probably an A. I think I'm an A something, maybe AB. I don't know. Type B, called the nomad. These people can eat plants and most meats except for chicken and pork, and can also eat some dairy. However, they should avoid wheat, corn, lentils, tomatoes, and a few other foods.
Interesting.
Type AB, called the enigma, described as a mix between types A and B. Foods to eat include seafood, tofu, dairy, beans, and grains. Should avoid kidney beans, corn, beef, and chicken. And the last one, type O, called the hunter, obviously, is the high-protein diet based largely on meat, fish, poultry, certain fruits and vegetables, but limited in grains, legumes, and dairy. It resembles like a paleo diet.
Interesting. I would think that this has a lot to do with the country, the origin of where you're from.
Absolutely.
I mean, like if you're by a sea,
if you're in India,
a desert,
you're probably more vegetarian.
Yeah.
And absolutely, if you're like by a sea, you're probably eating like some fish.
I mean, because in the desert, you're not going to be finding a lot of animals,
right?
So I mean, you're taking your grains, you're taking your dried fruits, you're taking, and then when you're thinking about being right by an ocean, or if you're in a forest area, or I mean, it's so interesting to think about. Even like body types, when you think about your husband, being tall. And versus like someone like, me who's got that like more slight frame, but like Middle
Right.
Eastern body, like it's so funny to see like my grandmother who was like short but very voluptuous.
Yeah.
But I've got like the height, but I've got the European slenderness.
Yeah.
So again, you really
Is your mom
understand.
European?
Yeah. So
Where's she from?
So she's got English, Irish, Scottish background, and then like the island of New Zealand, where they all went to. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's kind of interesting to have that mixed in with like this Persian, Russian, Jewish kind of background on my dad's side. So
interesting.
it is. We definitely have to dive more into this.
I did Ancestry.
You did? What's
Yes.
yours?
So I'm basically all European.
Of course.
German, Irish. I actually have it on my phone so I can read it to you. I was like a little surprised about some of them. I think I still have it on my phone. If I don't, I can come back to it later. But yeah, I'm basically like
a Nordic beauty.
Yeah, Swedish. I have Swedish in
Yeah.
me. I think I might have deleted the app. Oh wait, no, here it is. I'll tell you.
Okay.
But mostly I'm British, which I don't know how
interesting.
accurate this is because I was reading about it and it says when you send in your saliva sample, they compare it to people in similar regions. So
okay.
I don't think it's 100% accurate, but I am English, Northwestern Europe, Scottish, Swedish and Denmark, Irish, and German.
Interesting.
Which is all.
It's so funny how
where I
immediately
figured.
when you said Denmark, I was like, I don't know why, but I'm like, I totally see the Denmark. Not like I've ever been to Denmark. It's so funny when someone will say that to you.
Yeah.
I used to always get like Italian or like Venezuelan, and I'm like, yeah, no, Brazilian. I'm like, no, I'm none of those things.
I
but
could see Brazilian for sure.
I got a little bit, but I'm not quite Giselle Bundchen. I wish.
Don't we all wish?
But anyway, I think the other thing that I want to talk about before we like call it is I really want to talk about your journey with alcohol because mine has really changed in the terms of the way I drink.
Yeah.
Before it was just like whatever was in front of me or tasted good.
Yeah.
Now I understand with just my chemical makeup in my brain versus like having ADHD, which or like even now I'm on the cusp of being like perimenopausal. Like different alcohols have different ways how it affects my
Absolutely.
digestive system, my brain.
Your brain especially.
So organic
Not
wine.
yours specifically, but just in general.
Your brain needs help. It does need help. But organic wines have really, I've become, I enjoy drinking more in terms of I like taste versus like tannins. And I like
Is tannin like a
tannins it's the taste on your tongue that's that like dry like
I don't like that.
It's the way that you process the wine. And then with organic wines, it's not
okay.
like there aren't wines that have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But organic wines are pretty much like juice. I mean, like I love it. And like it takes a little bit more.
That sounds like a perfect, if you want to drink wine.
Totally. Especially if you're not, again, my goal is not to get loaded anymore.
Right.
I mean, it's there like to have like some bubbles or to like relax a little bit, but not to feel like hazy or, whatever I wanted to feel back in the day.
Yeah.
So how did you transition?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you transition? And why do you think, because it sounds like you're committed to stay in a sober place.
Yeah.
I'm curious, just take me through the first reasons why. Like how were you before you?
So that's what I was going to say is I've never been one that loved alcohol in high school. I mean, I know I had like a sip or two, but I didn't like it. Yeah. And then I really didn't like it at all. I was in a serious relationship and I never wanted to party, and they really did. And then when I was 21, I was single. So I had like a year or two that, I went out to the clubs and bars and I had like my fun and like out and about. But then alcohol never made me feel good, and I never enjoyed it, to be honest. I'm an early riser. And there was like nothing worse than waking up feeling like I need to just sleep all day. I never liked the feeling. So when I met my husband is Muslim and he's never had a sip of alcohol in his life. He's very dedicated to his religion and the things that it stands for. He never told me not to drink, but he never drank. And I was like, this is so refreshing. Do you know, like, the worst thing, and this happened like all of my like adult life prior to Hassan, when you don't want to drink, but you go out with a friend and they're like, you're going to make me drink by myself, and you feel obligated to. I'm like, why do I don't want to, but then they make you feel bad for it. Like you're going to ruin their night. I hated that feeling. So it was so nice that I didn't feel that pressure to drink. You know, we have a good time. I don't like anything that makes that like I lose control over my brain. That sounds like a scary thing. I've never been into that sort of thing. So, I on my own decided that I didn't have a reason to drink, and I didn't feel right about it anymore. And that's not to say like, yeah, I'm committed to not drinking. But if in 30 years I feel like I want to have a glass of wine,
yeah,
I could. I don't know if I would choose to, but I could. Now, after doing some research about alcohol, you know, they say that they can say all they want that alcohol has a benefit.
The glass of red wine prevents blah, blah, blah.
There's literally zero benefits to drinking alcohol. It's not to say that everyone has to be sober. It's not gonna, you know, ruin your life or anything. I mean, it can, but
yes.
There's Dr. Amen, or
who
Amen.
I love.
Amen.
Dr. Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say Amen. I love Dr. Amen.
But he is a very big. I mean, he's like a
huge advocate for not drinking and even marijuana use.
Yes.
I mean, he's like
he has like I mean, he's a doctor, so he has scientific backing on like what he says. So the 5 ways alcohol damages the brain is it shrinks the brain volume. It lowers the blood flow to the brain. When levels are low, it can lead to a laundry list of problems: brain fog, poor decision making, trouble concentrating, impulsivity, and more. It's especially important to know that low blood flow and brain scans is the #1 predictor of future memory problems in Alzheimer's disease. So that's like a huge red flag there. Causes atrophy of the hippocampus and reduces the number of new brain cells. So, I mean, that's all like very scientific. So that's easy to ignore, I feel like. I mean, if you're not that concerned with your brain health. But these are 7 mental and physical benefits of not drinking alcohol that I've seen in myself.
Okay.
One is better looking skin.
100%, I agree with you.
Alcohol dehydrates your body. And it inflames it. It can cause psoriasis. So it can also cause like broken capillaries in your face and your nose, like these little pieces right here. So not drinking alcohol gives you that glow. If you stop drinking alcohol, it restores the elasticity in your skin because it's not being dehydrated. So that's huge. And I'm curious to see how I aged not drinking.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about that. Improved sleep. Excessive alcohol use and poor sleep are closely linked. This is because alcohol affects your sleep-wake cycle. Okay, so passing out is not conducive to a good night's sleep. Like, you passed out for 10 hours, but you did not get good sleep there.
Well, and I always wake up at 3:00 in the morning, super dehydrated if I drink a lot. And then it's, where's the water? Then my brain feels like crushing headache because it's dehydrated. And then on top of it, it's not like you're going into a REM sleep.
Right. You're not at all. And also it relaxes the muscles in your throat, making like snoring, you know, if a person's drunk, they're probably going to snore. The muscles in their throat are really relaxed because they're not, you know, sleeping in the proper way. A healthier weight.
Yes.
Okay. So I've been someone that has been on a diet since I was young because my mom was always on a diet. And it's so crazy. I didn't drink that much alcohol, but eliminating it from my entire diet and not having anything, like I don't hyper focus on what I eat anymore. And I've been able to like stay at a healthy weight for years now. It really is like, not only is there like a lot of calories in alcohol, but it derails your metabolism and stops your body from receiving the essential nutrients it needs. So
and it's an inflammatory too.
It is, yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have drank, like my favorite like hard alcohol drink is usually a dirty martini with some olives, tons of salt, hard alcohol.
Yeah.
The whole drink is alcohol. And I usually will have one, and then maybe I'll throw in, like if I'm at Capitol Grill, like a Stoli Doli, which is like pure sugar, pineapple. And then maybe I'll have a glass of champagne. Like the biggest concoction for heartburn, bloating.
Yeah.
And then
champagne makes my heart hurt already.
And then I literally wake up and it is always about a 3 to 4 pound.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's crazy. It's crazy.
Know.
And it's because of the water weight, the salt, all of the stuff that goes with it. And then all of the toxins. Mm-hmm. It's crazy to me.
It is crazy. I just have a few left, but better mental health, obviously. That's pretty obvious. Improved immunity. So alcohol negatively interferes with your immune system, stopping it from producing enough white blood cells to fight off germs and bacteria.
Which makes sense.
It does make sense.
You guys who are going to be celebrating St. Patty's Day, all I can say is that number one, your immune system is going to be down from that green beer you're drinking.
Yeah.
And you know what? Once you set that green beer down, someone might take it because you're in a bar setting and you're going to not only have a lower immune system, you're probably going to have that person drink your beer. You're going to sip it. And guess what? We're in the COVID world.
So also enhanced nutrition. Alcohol can interfere with the nutrition process. This can affect digestion, storage, utilization, and excretion of nutrients. So, and then the last one, which was huge for me and something that it terrifies me, but a lower risk of cancer. Alcohol is a recognized carcinogen. Like it is a known carcinogen that the more alcohol you drink, the greater risk of developing certain forms of cancer, which are breast cancer, colon and rectal cancer, esophageal cancer, laryngeal cancer, liver cancer, oral cancer, and throat cancer.
God, when you see it out in front of you, again, Chelsey and I literally have notes and notes and notes for this episode. We could
talk about this all day.
For all day. But the bottom line is that you spend 15 minutes today about a plant-based diet,
right?
About just decreasing alcohol.
Yeah, it doesn't, just in moderation, just like maybe test it out a little bit.
Yeah. And try organic wines. Yeah. Like you can still have a glass, but guess what? The ingredients of what you're drinking, like even the sugars, these all have effects on your body. To me, it's not about necessarily going cold turkey,
right?
But from two people who have really committed themselves to a diet change, we are speaking from a place of experience and not just like, oh, I tried it for a week. It's like, no, my body has changed.
Yeah.
I feel lighter. I feel more aware. I feel like I'm in a place right now. These last 2 years haven't been easy. COVID. Yeah. You guys, I've talked about my dad. We're putting together a new house. All of these things that are stressors. And you talked to me just 2 years ago, and the sense of depression or the sense of things being overwhelming.
Yeah.
I have to say, when you're putting good things into your body, it affects your brain. It affects your
gut
sleep,
health is literally
everything.
Your mental health.
100%.
It's crazy. And like I said, we're not trying to preach over here for anything, but if you're curious about it, I'm a huge proponent of an alcohol-free lifestyle, or if you're not one to totally give up on it, just minimizing your alcohol. And then now I want to try plant-based. I want to also tell you, I saved this video that I found a long time ago, about all these celebrities. I'm influenced by celebrities. I think it's if they're doing something positive in their life, I'm influenced by it. And I thought this was really cool. It was a list of all these famous people that don't drink alcohol or drink very minimal alcohol. Let me see if I can find it. But obviously Kim Kardashian is one that she doesn't drink, and I think Blake Lively was one. I thought I saved this video. Maybe I didn't. I can look it up too.
It's pretty amazing when you actually.
Oh, I found it. It. Iconic women who don't or rarely drink. Let's see here. We have Blake Lively. She's stunning. Eva Mendes, Naomi Campbell, Kim Kardashian, Natalie Portman, Jennifer Lopez, Shania Twain, Kristen Davis, Anne Hathaway, Lucy Hale, Leona Lewis, Lana Del Rey, Jada Pinkett Smith. I mean, these are iconic women.
And these are women who are doing
aging
so much more. Yeah.
So gracefully too. Like I can't even tell you how excited I am. I mean, I don't really want to age, but just to see, like, I feel, people tell me I look younger now than I did when I was in my early 20s.
I look at pictures of myself then versus now. And like I said,
I've seen pictures of you. You look younger now. Not that you looked old then, but you look, I'm telling you, anything that Seraphiend's doing, like, I want to do.
I love you. I love you. I will take that compliment and put it in my back pocket.
Yeah.
I feel like, more than ever, there is just this sense of my well-being and not just accepting things as they are, because you have a choice. Mm-hmm. Every day you have a choice, and you have a choice to what to put into your body,
right?
What you actually put in front of you. I think a lot of times, we go into these little bubbles, and I think that's where, like, even going to the town over. You don't have to go to Dubai,
right?
But it's so great to open your eyes to different ideas, different cultures, different
cuisines.
Yes.
You don't even have to go to the next city. Like in Kansas City, there's amazing Thai food. There's amazing Arabic food. There's amazing, I'm sure there's great Persian food, Greek food. Like try out your taste buds a little bit, and maybe try, like, I love Indian food. Oh my God, I love Indian food. And a lot of their stuff is vegetarian.
Yeah, it is. By the way, speaking of that, I am going to give a little shout out to Clay and Fire. Clay and Fire is here.
Try it.
We should go this Sunday. Maybe that'll be our girl date.
That would be fun.
Clay and Fire is amazing. It has Egyptian food, Persian food, you name it, Israeli food. It is different. It's got a vibe. And it's here on the West Side. So anyway, thank you so much
this was such a good episode.
It was so much fun. You learn a lot.
Yeah.
And then it also reinforces some of the things we already know.
Totally.
And it's just fun to learn more about, like, aging well and
don't we all
want
to age well,
right?
I mean, I do. I don't want any wrinkles, and I want glowy skin forever.
I love it. Well, thank you guys for listening to the Hey Beauty podcast. We will see you really soon. We promise we will not let it go more than 2 weeks. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.